Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Monaco.
And I'm Bobby Salvesen. We are the HazMat Guys, bringing you knowledge and insight to make your job a little bit easier and safer.
Let's take a minute to hear about today's sponsors.
Hey, have you heard about the Decon Field Guide?
Oh, yeah. The First Line Technologies, the DFG, has everything that I'm looking for in the field of emerging threats.
Yeah, the DFG has a brand new look with updated time-saving resources such as instructional videos, guidance documents, dwell timings, FAQs, even a ton more than that.
You're preaching to the choir, man. I've already been using the guide documents and the instructional videos on a bunch of classes that we're teaching throughout the country.
Yeah, so simply download the Decon Field Guide app to your smartphone or tablet to access the full threat library, step-by-step instructions, and instructional videos. Download the Decon Field Guide app today. You can find it on the Apple App Store or Google Play.
Let's get to the show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the HazMat Guys. When you think that there is no more episodes to come, we just keep pumping them out. I'm Bobby Salvesen, and I'm here with Mike Monaco. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Bobby. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing. Oh, we do have to take a sad moment. The Massachusetts conference did go down by Corona.
Goodbye.
Take a moment.
Goodbye, Massachusetts. I have to say, this is really, like, I normally don't favor anything above anything else, but
No.
the Massachusetts is near and dear to my heart.
Oh,
and
my word.
It really, I think we may just have to go up and visit Plymouth Rock and the guys
The Pebble.
Yeah, just because how do we not go a year without going? It's just I'm so upset over Massachusetts.
I will say the contender that is still holding strong is Cold Zone, and they are still on October.
I love his gumption. I don't think for a second it's going to continue to be there.
I hope it does. Chuck, I'm rooting for you, bro.
I think half the country's going to be wiped out by then. My kids, they're going to just demolish schools because there's no need for them anymore. And yeah, that's it.
Guys, if you are itching for a HazMat conference and HazMat Cold Zone is still on, this is an excellent conference. You really should go to this one.
It really is. In all fairness, if I had to pick a close second, Cold Zone is going to be my close second. The guys are great. Chuck is awesome. The venue is small. Awesome, it's cool. I definitely recommend doing it.
Great people from everywhere. So that's all that's happening. Oh, the university. Dude, so much stuff.
Yeah? What do we got now?
Oh, Todd Burton just dropping them left and right. He's got a liquid solvent extraction. That's new from last week. He's also got a package of multiple extraction ways of doing that. John Cassie's got a clutch. This thing's been selling like a hotcakes because it's like, hold on, let me see how much it is. It's $12.
Oh,
he's doing a case study on chlorine bombs.
He
did really good.
It's awesome, guys. It is. There's not a lot of case studies out there where you walk away and you're like, oh wow, John Cassidy's case study is definitely one of them, and I can't ever say enough about Todd Burton and the stuff that he puts out.
I'm gonna tease one more one. This is not out yet, but this is coming out probably within, I don't know if it'll be before the release of this, which will be July 17th, 2020 at noon. It'll probably be between this episode and the next one, is if you have gone to flammable liquids training in Teaks, and you went to Hellfighter U foam flammable liquids, it was put on by a delightful gentleman named Frank Bateman.
Ooh,
and
This guy,
when I reached out to him, he picks up the phone from me. No, I'm joking. He doesn't do that. No, when I reached out to Frank Bateman, he's one of those guys. He's the guy. He had a class that ran forever, and it just closed up pre-COVID because he was retiring. And I gave him. He just came out with Module 1. It is going to be live very shortly. It's one of multiple foam modules. If you're into foam, if you have a foam coordinator, if you want to learn from the best of the best, this is the class. Keep your eye on the site for this one.
I loved that class. I loved that class. Not the one that I haven't even seen the
Oh,
one.
the
I
burns.
haven't even seen the one. Dude, when I did the Teeks class, I remember sitting there and being like, all of the emissions that California has saved with all the laws and stuff,
We give off in this 1 week.
in this 1 week are gone. Like, I'm watching columns of smoke billow into the air from burning like just crud and crude and oil and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god,
This is awesome.
it was a really cool class, very cool class.
So yeah, keep your eye on that, but let's not belabor the point. Let's get around to this.
Yeah, we're the rest of the country was like, you know what, in New York, like they were having so much fun, we're gonna join in the party because nobody believed that we were literally dying over here, and they were like, let's see what it's all about. So we're actually going to do a little bit of an episode on Corona. I know we're kind of getting back into it, and we're not really going to talk too much about Corona itself. But if you are a friend of mine on Facebook, and if I have viciously and vehemently attacked you on Facebook, it is all out of love. And for the most part, it has to do with masks. So it is something that I am passionate about. I did have the coronavirus. I was knocked to shit by it. So it is definitely something that I talk about. And I am very surprised at how many people have so much misconceptions and so much misgivings and so many different thoughts and feelings and everything that's going on with just the mask.
So let's clarify a whole bunch of stuff here. That's the point of this whole thing. And there seems to be a disconnect. I'm going to say globally, right? There's a disconnect between behind why what the mask is doing, why we're wearing it, what are we doing, and listen, I don't think we're a very political show at all. I think we keep politics completely out of this, and we are not bringing politics into this. But to omit politics from this discussion is silly.
It is.
Politics is behind this, right? There is narratives on both sides, and we're not picking a side or anything. But you have to understand that this whole is it good to wear a mask? Is it not good to wear a mask? Is it something that has efficacy or not? It is a political issue. It has become that. Unfortunately, common sense has taken a back seat to political identity, and this is where you get those Karen and Keith, memes. And it's like, yeah, but they're just being jerks, and like, I think everybody kind of understands it, but apparently not.
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with a guy in the rig who was like, joking around, kind of like half joking around, and he was like, yeah, he's like, if I'm not wearing my mask, like, mind your own business, leave me alone. And I'm like, dude, and I freaking just like laced into him. And, this is kind of where this came from. In case anybody doesn't know, a lot of our shows come just from our own personal experiences of the week where we have something scheduled. We don't get to it for months because stuff just happens. So let's start to kind of unpack this. Let's start to unfold this. And I think one of the biggest things that people don't really realize is what is the underlying purpose of the surgical mask or the cloth mask or anything like that. And before we really dive into the mask, like so many things that we've identified throughout our career in HazMat and instructing and things like that, the linguistics and the nuances, they tend to get lost over time, and then they get misconstrued and misconcepted. So linguistics-wise, I can't even say that right. Linguistically,
right. Linguine.
Like linguine, like a clam sauce.
Right, Ming.
Let's clean this up a little bit because sometimes things start to get a little fuzzy.
So first off, the N95, right? Everybody heard about it. Everybody talks about it. The N95 mask. It's not really a mask.
What?
It's not a mask. And you might be like, Bob, stop being such a bitch about this. You're splitting hairs about this. No, it's really not. This is the equivalent of when you watch the news at night and they go, oh, the firefighters went into the burning building with oxygen tanks in the back.
Yes.
No, we don't do that. We don't. That's not a truth, right? So it's a respirator. We're in HazMat, we're kind of comfortable with using respirators. SCBA is a respirator. we're using a filtering respirator on this. And we have many of them, the PAPRs, the APRs, and in this case, a surgical mask. It's a shitty one, but nonetheless, it is one.
Okay, so is Bob actually being a little bitch, or is there really a difference? And if there is, does it really matter? And I think that the both of us would be on the same page in saying, yes, there is a difference, and it does matter. And the difference is that a respirator protects you, the wearer. You, the user, are protected by a respirator. Your respiratory system is protected by a respirator, and a mask covers your face.
Right. And I love the who the hell put it out? It might have been, it had the CDC logo on it, but it was obviously not the CDC. It was about peeing. Wearing no pants.
Well, I saw Baxter put that out, and then I shared it from her.
Right. It was basically, I'll give you the quickest version of it, is if me and Mike are both naked, and please, calm your loins.
Picture it
on that
for
one.
a moment. We'll give you a moment to calm down.
Don't do that. And Mike pees on my leg. Well, then we both have, I'm infected, right? But if I am wearing pants, it's not as bad. Now, if we're both wearing pants, I don't get it. So if you both have your masks on, it is generally a much more gooder thing.
Yes.
Right? And this is a great analogy. It's very funny, and I love it. So when we say mask, we're talking about surgical masks, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Right. So we have face masks, which are, I would say, are respirators. Mm-hmm. And then we have face coverings. Okay, now this is a totally different thing. Face covering is not, you're not going to find in any books. You're not going to find any manuals. You're not going to find an OSHA. You're not going to find an NFPA. Nothing like that. This is like plastic face shields, bandanas, or even cloth coverings. Like for those of you that are hikers, like buffs. You see these guys wearing these rings of cloth around the neck and they pull up over the nose. That's called a buff.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Oh, I didn't. I learned something new today.
See, now you know.
Do. All right, let's get back to the mask for a moment. We made a big deal in saying that the N95 is called a respirator because it protects our respiratory system. So then what exactly does a surgical mask do? Well, it doesn't protect you. I mean, listen, it may offer a little bit of like barrier protection, but its main function is to protect others from you, the wearer.
Yes. And you know what? I learned this actually pre-COVID. I'm not being I'm not calling it out, but you'll notice that there's a lot of Asian people that wear face masks.
Yes.
Like the surgical covers, way before it was cool to do. And I always wondered, I'm like, why do they always do that? And I'm like, well, they're just afraid of everybody getting sick or anything. Or
that's what I thought.
And I'm like,
I would see them and I'd be like, these paranoid MFers.
They're paranoid.
Like, you're that scared of getting sick, you're always walking around with a mask?
But no, now we're actually understanding I'm going to say culture. And the culture has validity, is that they're protecting me. Mm-hmm. That's just like, holy crap. I didn't even thought about that.
Which makes me want to give them a hug.
I do all the time, and I get pushed away.
I'm like, thank you. And then they look at me because they don't speak English, and next thing you know, there's restraining orders. It's a long story.
So, I mean, this is really an important point because a lot of people will forego the mask and say, well, I'll take the risk. That's not the point. The point is, if you don't wear your mask, you're exposing other people, and you're putting them in harm's way.
Yeah. So let's start to dive a little into the confusion of the masks and unpack this, because really I want everybody that's listening to become as big an a-hole online as I am about correcting people, and I've just become so blunt and hated by so many. One of the biggest admitted blunders, and it is sort of a blunder and it isn't, in the beginning of this entire pandemic was done by the CDC, the American Centers for Disease Control. Mm-hmm. The original recommendation was that there was no need for the public to wear any kind of face masks. This stance was then compounded by several issues that compounded themselves.
Yeah, right. So, first off, that the virus was not widespread, right? There wasn't enough for them to say, all right, trigger has been met. Let's hit this button, right? And also testing was so limited that we didn't really understand how much it had spread at that point. So we thought we were just dealing with something that just entered the U.S. via Europe. And it's Northeast and Asia on the West Coast and stuff like that. And it was kind of an isolated thing.
Right. And another one of the factors that played into it was that while it is always been well known, always been well known that a surgical mask will in fact prevent the transfer of a respiratory virus. That's why surgeons have been wearing them for thousands of years. They do not, one day somebody's going to be like, why do you guys always say thousands of years and then chuckle? There's a reason behind it.
We will come with them. We will do a show on that one day.
All right. So while we've known that they have had respiratory viruses, they've protected from respiratory viruses, we didn't really have a full grasp on how contagious this specific COVID virus was.
Right. So at the time, it was not realized that you could be asymptomatic and still spread the virus. That's really, I'm going to say that for me personally, that was the thing that scared the crap out of me. I was like, dude, I could be not showing anything and just be a sprinkler of crap.
Yeah, that was a huge...
More than I am on the show.
That was a huge... Like, that moment in time when, like, the CDC and all those people realized that how contagious we were, because, right, we are not normally contagious until symptoms start, right? That's when you have something, right? That's why they're like, all right, well, if you get a fever, they're not so concerned about who you had contact with 48 hours before you had a fever. But with COVID, oh my God, like you are more contagious before your symptoms start than when you actually have symptoms. So that was the purpose of having everyone to wear the mask, was because they were like, holy crap.
Right. So most people at least have somewhat of an understanding to stay away from people when they get sick. Like if I'm sick, I isolate myself because luckily it makes you want to stay in bed and it makes you want to do nothing. And so that's actually a good thing that you kind of self-isolate by staying in there. This was not allowing that. This was kind of like saying, you're okay, man. Go out and have parties. Right?
And then finally, the next factor helped to solidify the previous reason. We didn't have enough masks for everybody.
Yes.
No one had a supply of millions, if not billions, of face masks for people. So when we're sitting there looking and saying, well, people really aren't contagious until they're symptomatic, why tell people to wear something when they can't get it? This was the question. This question was posed to George Rutherford, who's an epidemiologist over in San Francisco, who readily admits that the CDC should have at least, when they realized this was the case, let everyone know that it's still best to wear some kind of face covering.
Right. So all these events come together. And the science at the time, and even the best practices for everything we know, has come to the conclusion of not wearing a mask was not a good idea. Right? This is a bad idea. The decision to do this had nothing to do with the fact that the mask didn't work. And nothing... That's the beauty of science, is that it rarely moves.
Yeah.
Like science is kind of a pretty solid thing. Now, in this one, we were learning as we go. And I will say we are, July, this thing popped up.
16th.
Hardcore. Yeah, let's say 4 months ago. The recommendations have changed. Right, but the science, I don't think has really changed all that much. Science really doesn't change all that much. I'm going to say the policies have changed, the recommendations have changed, and that's based on policy. So there's like a whole juggling act that happens, but science in general doesn't change. Like biologicals are biologicals, chemistry is chemistry, physics is physics, and it generally doesn't change. So don't take me as saying something I'm not. But unfortunately, when the CDC did reverse its suggestion, based upon policy, based upon public perception, based upon politics, even. It became political football. And since our executive branch did not comply or give the suggestion by the CDC, some we'll say psychological backings or whatever it might be, it allowed for all sorts of craziness over the mask to happen.
Yeah, and this is kind of unfortunate because the psychology of the U.S. population, we weren't ready to wear masks. Like, that wasn't something that was really in our heads. Had the executive branch, as well as other leaders on both sides of this political aisle, had in fact started to prepare the population for the need to mask themselves, there would be a lot less craziness about them.
Right. And listen, again, we are an apolitical show. I'm not saying, we love or hate the executive or love or hate the legislative or love or hate our political party or not. I really don't care. I couldn't give two shits about which side you're on. I'm just saying that if we look at many Asian populations, they have dealt with a fair amount of viruses over the past few decades. Right? And so wearing a mask is just a normal thing. It's accepted. And we'll say if you're in America or actually Canada, any place other than Asia, like it was not a normal occurrence to see people doing that. You would say, oh, there's the Asian guy wearing the mask. And I'm sure you would, whether you say it out loud or not. I'm just saying, you'd be like, oh my God, this guy, he's afraid of what I breathe. They were in the front of the curve.
Yeah.
And now we're catching up. So they were prepared for it.
And this brings us to the science of everything, right? We have the psychology, why it's happening, blah, blah, blah. And so many people have fought this, and it exists. It's out there.
Yep.
There are many studies. There is much evidence that masks will help you. All right. If you've been ripped apart on social media by yours truly, you may have seen a few of these references that we're about to share with you.
Right. Now, the first one is the New England Journal of Medicine, which is, I'm going to say, the flagship. I
think it might be well known among even outside the medical and science community.
It's the crown jewel, right? It listed. It was titled "Visualizing Speech-Generated Oral Fluid Droplets with Laser Light Scattering." Wow, that's a tough one to say.
They're so you see that and you're just so interested in what it is.
Oh my God, I'm just picking it up. So some interesting things that they discovered was that large droplets quickly drop to the ground, right? We can understand it. It has a lot of mass. It would fall down to the ground. But the small droplets can dehydrate, right? They actually have so much surface area. They dehydrate and they linger longer as a droplet nuclei in the air, where they behave like an aerosol and therefore expand in the spatial extent, we'll say, emitting infectious particles. I like those words. I mean, I'm having good words.
They use such big words in the journal.
Oh, I love it.
All right, let me translate that for us in the fire service. That's a really fancy way of saying that your germ-infested spit stays in the air a really long time.
That's a much more besterish way to say it.
Yeah, so here we have the 5th grade level. Your spit stays in the air, and here you have 19-year doctorate spatial extent of emitting infectious particles. Your spit's in the air. All right.
Folks, that's what you pay us for. That's what you pay us for right there, that one line. So basically what they did is they had a bunch of people talk into what amounts to be a box of HEPA filters on one end that would actually take away dust. And then they had a person actually breathe from one end of the box, to the droplets that are generated during his speech, and they would move 50 to 75 millimeters back before encountering a sheet of light that, with a camera on the opposite side of the box, recorded the sound and the video of the light scattering at about 60 frames a second, and they were able to determine the droplet size using the scatter. This is like a hardcore. That is Nerdville times 6.
Yeah, when you can transform somebody's spit into flashes of light on a screen, you're
You're pretty nerdy, bro.
you got some serious issues.
Yeah.
But from this, they were able to determine droplets range from about 200 to 500 micrometers. That's micrometers, not millimeters, micrometers. And they found that if you spoke louder, the number of particles you generated increased. Now, all of this was done first without a mask, and then they go and they put a mask on the people and they repeat the experiment.
Right. So let's just put this into perspective. When the two people that were speaking together, without the mask, they were showing about 347 flashes or droplets per sentence that they were giving out, and as low as 227. So 347 to 227. And when their volume was at a low whisper. Now, obviously, this is going to ramp up when they're yelling across a classroom or across the kitchen, whatever it might be. But when they spoke with the mask, it dropped down to 0.1 flashes.
Yeah.
So from 347 to 227 down to 0.1. That's that one in the cop world, they call that a clue.
That's a clue. That is statistically relevant.
That's a big deal, man.
All right. This means that just a damp cloth, we're not even talking about a surgical mask or anything like that, was able to decrease the amount of droplets in the air by a factor of 1,000. That is a real significant decrease in the number of particles that are being emitted. And remember, the purpose of the surgical mask is to protect other people from you, because you could be sick and not know it. Whether you're asymptomatic, right? Like so many people in our firehouse were asymptomatic, or you are like me, and within a few days you start to feel the symptoms, and before you start to feel those symptoms, you're contagious and spreading stuff.
Right. So the next study that we're going to reference is the Natural Medicine Journal, and they title this one respiratory virus is shedding an exhaled breath in the efficacy of face masks. Piece of cake to say. And in short, it was allowing two people to speak into two samples with and without a face mask, and see how much of the virus got into the samples versus the other.
Right. So the coronavirus in the respiratory droplets and in aerosolization. While
we're having a hard time. We're not even drunk.
Not at all. I haven't had a drop of alcohol all day today.
In days.
So, all right, basically, spit coming out of your mouth while you speak. Mm-hmm. There were 3 out of 10 samples, or 30% in one case, and 4 out of 10 samples in the other case that collected and had the coronavirus in it after running this test without the face piece. All right? Okay. So that is what? That's 30 and 40% of the samples were contaminated. Then they did it with the face piece.
Okay.
And not a single one of them had enough samples to have a decent viral load on them.
Now, just to get back to a viral load is the amount you need to actually get the car over the hump.
Right.
To get you sick.
To get you sick.
So they didn't have enough push to get the car over the hump.
So zero. We went from 30 to 40 to 0.
To 0. And they also did the same thing for influenza, right? The common flu. With a face piece, without a face piece, they got 26 to 35% of the respiratory droplets in the samples. And with the face piece, now with it on, they only got 1 out of 27, or 4%, being able to detect influenza virus in the respiratory droplets. That is significant.
That's a
significant dropping.
That is a pretty that right there says everything. Now, if you don't believe us, we will reference these articles in the show notes, and we invite you to check out the full studies and educate yourself. Most of you will start to drool, and one eye will lazily go to the side when they start doing the statistical analysis of all this, but it is still really good to go ahead and look at it. And while the topics tend to be very politically charged, try to remember that the vast majority of scientists are so creepily into science, Christina Baxter, that the truth in their outcomes to them is more important than who is sitting in office and what they represent. I can very clearly remember I had a chemistry teacher back in high school. The teacher that got me involved in science, Mr. Ditchkovsky. He was one of the craziest mother effers I ever met. Right? I'm not even kidding. The guy was like 6'5". He must have been like 80 years old, and he could snap you like a twig. He was just nuts. He was just crazy. And he taught us a little saying, and he said, "Trust in those who seek the truth and question those who have found it." Many times in this world, the science and the scientists are the ones seeking the truth, and the politicians are the ones that have claimed to find it and have it. So please do what you can to set your kind of your political identity aside and actually listen to science.
All right, if you're still hanging out with us, we have some bonus content for you. We said this in the middle of it. These are called antisms. We'll say that.
Antisms. Okay.
Antism,
like a little ant
right?
crawling on the table. Not
We had
any
a
reference
guy-
to anything else other
No.
than an ant. Like,
We had some-
an ant in the firehouse, right? You
Right,
guys have ants in the
exactly.
firehouse,
And you eject them.
and you
get
right.
rid of them.
But they keep coming back until they decide
And-
to retire.
This guy was always said the wrong thing. So I have a list of things that this guy said, and we're going to throw this in as bonus content. These are legitimately came out of his mouth. So I'll give you the first one. On the radio for the whole fireground here. "Hey, Lou, I got a strong odor of natural gasoline." I'm like the angel of death. I'm like the Green Reaper. He said this in front of me.
Wait, Bob. You have to do it in a more Vinny Goomba Staten Island
okay.
Italian
All right.
accent.
All right, how about this one? "Hey, bartender, I'll have a Kettle One and vodka." "Hey, chief, I made the door into a window." Like, he framed it out.
I knocked out the slash.
It's like, "Hey, in this movie, Lone Survivor, do they all die?"
Yeah, does this guy die?
That happened actually in the thing. All right. I don't want to step over his toes. Yeah, that wedding was a real extravaganza. He's got a lot under his plate. This one is my favorite. I was there for this one. "Hey, that guy Lance Armstrong, that bicycle guy, he's married to that magician Sheryl Crow." She's a musician, not a magician.
Musician.
Yeah. The guy, one of the guys that drives, he had glasses and he wore them at night. So he says, "We gotta get Dane a prescription windshield."
There are so
I got two
many.
more. I got
There's
two more.
So many.
Hold on a sec. I some of them I can read, some of them I can't read. You know what? I can't read it.
I can't read it anymore.
Guys, thank you for listening for the bonus material. Enjoy your night.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the HazMat Guys.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel at the HazMat Guys, and take a moment to call our comment hotline at 843-628-1484.
And we are always looking forward to your feedback about information or interesting incidents that you were a part of, so send us a note at feedback@thehazmatguys.com.
Remember, guys, don't just get on the job, get into the job.